I'm Lori Jinkins, and I represent the 27th Legislative District, which is most of the city of Tacoma and the entire city of Ruston.
Today's topic is long-term care. What are we really talking about when we use this phrase?
Well, a lot of us as we age, especially once we get over the age of 65, we need some help with activities of daily living. That could be anything from cooking all the way up to needing someone to take care of you for everything, for helping with walking and things like that. So it can start out small, it might get bigger and bigger.
Experts are warning our state and our nation face a long-term care crisis. What is the crisis?
Research shows that about 7 of 10 people are going to need long-term care services sometime after the age of 65. It also says that 90% of those people have no savings for long-term care services. So we're going to have a really high demand and a high need, but people who are just unable to pay for that. We should not require our seniors to spend themselves into poverty before they can get the kind of care that they need.
You have a bill to address this problem here in Washington. What would it do?
The long-term care trust would basically have each of us pay a payroll premium in order to get a long-term care insurance policy. So the premium would be 58 cents for every $100 you earn, and for that you would get about a $37,000 benefit. Now this may seem like a small amount of money. If you needed in-home care services, it would give you a half a day of in-home care services for a whole year. It would give you an adult family home stay for nearly a year, and even a nursing home stay for up to 6 months or so, depending on the cost. And most people actually have a family member provide care for them, and it would provide your family member with respite services for maybe up to 5 years or more.
How many family caregivers are there in Washington state right now?
There are 850,000 unpaid family caregivers here in Washington. And what I said earlier about requiring folks who need long-term care to spend themselves into poverty before they get care, one of the other things that we're seeing is those 850,000 people who are giving their family member care are also spending themselves into poverty. So we're creating generational challenges. The Long-Term Care Trust Act would make sure that a family member could actually be trained and paid for providing that care. Therefore, they're not spending themselves into poverty while providing care for a loved family member.
In addition to the crisis facing families, is there a crisis in the state budget with long-term care?
Well, there certainly is. Right now, we spend about $1.7 billion a year providing long-term care services and supports to folks who need those. The projection is that in the next decade, that will go up to over $4 billion. Our budget actually will not be able to sustain that level of service. And so the Long-Term Care Trust will help people not have to move on to Medicaid, but be able to get the services they need. And at the same time, it will help address the problems in our state budget. I think of this bill as a win-win for everyone.
You've sponsored this bill in previous years, and it hasn't passed. What makes you optimistic about this year?
I've just seen really broad bipartisan support for the bill this year. Sometimes it takes big bills like this a while to catch on and for people to understand what's happening. I think the other thing was over the interim, we really expanded the kinds of services that people can buy with their benefit. So last year, we hadn't really contemplated things like a ramp for wheelchair access or having meals delivered to your home. Those are all included in this year's bill, and so it provides a really good diversity of services that anybody might need. And I think that's part of what's brought on the real bipartisan support.
So where can people get more information?
Well, they can look at my website, my legislative website, or just look up the bill on the legislative website. We're expecting it to be exec out of committee very soon, and hopefully off the floor of the House in early February if all goes well.